presents Social Climate Change.
Just calm down.
Yeah, like, you don't really even know your great-grandparents, like, talking about. Like, you know them, but you don't really.
I know my great grandma. Like I hang out with her at the mall, man.
Oh shit!
I've never met my great-grandma.
I talked
My great grandma's still alive.
I talked to her on the phone.
Okay.
She's 105.
We're gonna start this with a cheers.
Oh yeah, of course. Let's do it.
Cheers, man.
Right.
I've known this guy. I've known you. I'm not gonna fuck that. I've known you for fucking since like not second, maybe second. I've seen you since second grade.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, third, because I came to Bonnie Bray in third grade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I came in second.
Okay, so I met you in the third.
Yeah. Fuck
Yeah, because I transferred elementary schools from Fair Hill to Bonnie Bray.
Well, thank Moses.
Yeah.
No, no, but dude. All right, so I really wanted to get you on this podcast because you have such a unique outlook on like life in general. You're the only one who's on Facebook like, hey, another day in the simulation. I'm like, okay, this guy's just gonna like implode the Mirage like that just off the bat, and I'm just like, okay, like what? Tell me more about that. Can you please? I'm really interested in your idea about the simulation because I know that is a popular idea. I believe it somewhat too. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Most like many things you have different. So what is your idea about this simulation idea and like what does it mean to you? What does that even mean that this is a simulation?
So for me, I'll compare it to a video game. My favorite video game, Grand Theft Auto. I could not play as a kid because my mom just wouldn't approve of it, too violent. So I just waited till I was 18. In fact, I was playing once, and my sister came home and saw me playing on the screen, and she was like, "What game is that?" I was like, just some game. And she saw what game it. She was like, "Oh, all right, well, I'm gonna see." So she takes out the disc, and it's Grand Theft Auto, and I had spent $60 on it. And she calls my mom. She's like, "Mom, he's playing Grand Theft Auto." She's like, "Do I have permission to break the disc?"
What?
Yeah. And then mom's like, "Yep." So she breaks the disc, and I'm like, "Oh my god, I can't believe it!" Like ruined my day, but I kept it pushing as usual. So then, obviously,
wait, which Grand Theft Auto was it?
GTA 4.
That fuck the one with Nico Bellic.
Yeah, Nico Bellic. But
That was a sick one.
regardless, I still got another GTA. I still beat the game, never gave up. But point of the story was, now that I'm old enough to finally play the game, and I see like it's just not that game, but I'm gonna do my comparison here. So in GTA, it's a simulation. No matter who's playing the game, like let's see, there's servers all around the world: Australia, Europe, South America, North America, whatever. Even when people are not on the server, the game is still doing stuff.
How do you know that? Because
because you'll never come back to the same simulation where it's the same. Like you'll leave GTA, you'll log in and see stuff, and your stuff won't be all the same. If
you like a change a day or change a night.
Yes, exactly.
That's interesting.
And it's always changing. And what I was gonna say is, we have all these different time zones. You can't tell me, especially the way gaming is and how much demand there was for the PS5 and a new Xbox, that there's not always at least one person on the internet playing online. And let me tell you why. Because there's so much capability and so many people have access to the internet, there's always at least one person playing GTA Online. It's still popular. And they've milked the game from 2013. It's been out, GTA 5. But they've still been able to milk it because it's like, as Rockstar Games, they try and release the shelf life for GTA is 10 years. It's been 7 years. Released in 2013 is 2020. Now, are we going to have to wait till 2023 to get a new one? Who knows? Nobody wants to wait that long, but it's totally up to them. But also a thing I've realized is I think they're running out of places on the map. No, places on the earth to put GTA. They already tried California. They've done most of America. So I think now they should go overseas, which I don't even think they've tried before.
You mean like some Assassin's Creed, like just or change time periods? What if they just did a whole world version where you can it's called Grand Theft World, like you just like fucking travel around the world.
But
so wait, what does that mean? Okay, I understand that could. So some critics could be like, yo, that's just like how the designers wanted the game to be to make it seem like the day just went by, and it's like that doesn't mean Nico's out there doing shit because your missions are still there, like to do later. But so my question is like, why else? So why does that mean that this reality that we're living in is a simulation to you?
I just say everyday interactions. Like when I see certain people, or I say like this, I'll see signs from God, like, or just I'll see like, so I'll see, say I see a homeless person, like, and he's like a normal, like in the area, and he's just like one of the locals, like everyone knows this certain dude. And the thing is, I talked to one of those people the other day, and I used to know the guy I used to live with, and I still talk to both of them. And there's always two sides to every story, but he was telling me like how he got kicked out of the crib, and how like the guy housing him was basically almost like sexually assaulting him, but his wife was like, defending him. Like his wife was defending the guy that he was accusing. So obviously he's gonna take the loss. This guy's from this guy's from Africa. So and the people housing him were Caucasian. I'm gonna use the professional term, but long story short is
fucking swingers.
all people will look at is they'll see this guy on the side of the street and they'll be like, look at this homeless bum. But if they sat down and spoke with him, you realize this guy's awesome. Like, he has a lot to offer, and like, just he's been through some shit. And also I realized he's so happy with so little. Every time I talk to him, man's upbeat. Like and the thing is, he knows me. So like when I walk by, he'll acknowledge me. And imagine someone that low who's homeless acknowledging someone else. So it tells you the type of, great human being he is. It just, you wish that when people would see homeless people, they wouldn't just think, oh, let me just give this guy $1 or some money. How about you sit and talk to him?
Yeah, he might have some interesting shit to say.
And that's what I think people need to do more of, sitting down and talking to people. Because we live in such a fast-paced world. You got to work, make money, do this, provide for your family. That people don't always have the time or the luxury to sit down and talk. But if you did, you'd be amazed what people have to offer.
Totally. I mean, I think that, like, you're right, as in, like, the simulation, it's a simulated reality that we didn't choose. It's kind of like the 1% or the people before us or whatever, they wanted this. They wanted the lower class to work really hard to get to a point, to just keep working, really. But, so it's kind of like, I don't know. So for me, what really gets me thinking about the simulation theory are coincidences. In The Matrix, the movie, like one of my favorite movies, like they say deja vu is a sign that there's a glitch happening. I experienced deja vu, but in a strange sense. It's like, not even deja vu. It's really not deja vu. It's just things adding up. Like, I'm thinking of a person, like, really, really hard, and all of a sudden they call me. And I'm like, What the fuck was that? I'm like, what is that? Like, so obviously we do give out these frequencies, we give out vibrations, and something is reading them. Like literally, we're just like walking magnets. We're walking magnets that repel and attract, and it's just nuts to me. Like, so from a young age, when things would just like happen, people are like, oh, that's just chance. I'm like, no, that's not. When it happens, like when chance happens more than like infinity, like I'm just like, when some shit that happens by chance happens like more than 100 times, that's not chance anymore. That's not luck. And so it's like those little coincidences that just make me think that there's definitely something more and things like that. Can I tell you a story? Like, man, when I was in like elementary school, like before like kindergarten, first grade, we were at a planetarium and we first learned about atoms. And I'm like looking around, and it's hard. It's gonna sound like I'm just like, it's gonna sound kind of crazy, but from a young age, I raised my hand. I was like, "Hey, I can see atoms," and they're like, "You can't see atoms." And I was like, "No, I can. I see them, but I don't see." It's like looking at static on a TV. It's like I see. It's transparent static on a TV that I see, and I see that shit. And they're just like, "Oh, you're a silly little boy," and I'm like, "No, I'm trying to be genuine." I'm like, and it's just kind of like, I just always felt like there was definitely something like more going on. And with COVID-19, that is something that, the Killers dropped this album called "Imploding the Mirage." I'm gonna have to use that one more time. Like, it imploded the mirage. It's like, I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, I think what it showed is that the government in America could have been helping the unemployed so much more than they were. Think about it. Everyone's on unemployment because they had to be. America's still up and running, and like unemployment was better than it ever was. It shows how much and people were making better on unemployment than they were in their real jobs, and it just shows like what kind of world was before here. Yeah. How it's not fair.
Not at all.
And it's like, what the fuck? Why am I making more on unemployment?
Then I'm at a job that I'm slaving for, doing so much for this company that I'm expendable to. That they'll just cut the cord and be like, we don't need your services anymore. Peace.
And then you have to find another fucking job that you hate.
But it's like, what if you don't, 50% of people right now who are adults are living with their parents. That's just a statistic. So, whoever people out there can say, oh, you're living with your parents, you're a bum, you're this, you're that. Like, okay, whatever, I'm still alive and I'm breathing. A lot of people can't say that. But point of the story I'm trying to get to is, you just realize that, of course, a 9 to 5, the way the simulation works, work has to happen. Shit has to get done. But you do realize through unemployment how much they were underpaying you. That's why through unemployment, I realized how much the places I was working for were underpaying me,
busting my ass for such little money. Mm-hmm. You want to know what? Personally, in my opinion, I think that this is all. I do believe in a simulation theory. I believe this is a simulated reality that people talk about God. You know what? I want to meet God. Mm-hmm. I have some things I want to say. No,
I have some shit I want to say too.
Deadass, I'm just so it's like I believe in aliens too. Okay, but what is alien to me? Alien to me is something from a different dimension, and that doesn't mean that it's not related to a human. It doesn't mean that it's not from a birth from our own consciousness. Like we may be like the baby of an alien's conscience, and so it's like in this moment in time when technology is getting really, really good, it's like.
But I'm not trying to interrupt you, but keep the train.
No. Okay,
I'm saying technology. So the issue with technology, a bunch of smartphones, but a bunch of dumb people.
Yeah.
But continue. That's all I wanted to
say. No,
deadass.
I mean, now you can Google things in the phone, and it's like when you hear a fact, it's like it goes one ear out the other. You look it up. Oh, okay. Unless you learn it, but people aren't learning; they're regurgitating, and that's the issue. People like information so quick. Like editing videos, editing anything. I have to look up the same fucking tutorial on YouTube multiple times to learn the same thing that I thought I already knew. Mm-hmm. So it's like I'm not like taking in anything. So like one thing that I'm just thinking about is that COVID-19 was an attack. It's like a change of the balls are changing hands, and it's like if we are going to be comfortable with technology. All right, here's what I'm trying to say. Like. Humanity, since the big dawn of the ages, was built on the backs of somebody. Slavery, right? Mm-hmm. Slavery. Our Jews, people. Blacks. Mm-hmm. Now, what's the next level of that, in my opinion? Robots. Someone needs to work. Something needs to work. And I think that in this day and age now with technology, we don't have to work these shitty jobs, like these factory shit. And it's like, I don't know, money should be more accessible. I'm rambling now, but I'm just kind of like trying to say like, what am I trying to say?
There's no reason for anyone in this world to be homeless.
Yeah, unless they want to be. There's people who are like nomads on purpose. Like
and if they want to be, go ahead. But I'm saying the people who don't want to be. I'll say this is about like empathy and compassion. When I see a homeless person, I feel sad. I'm like, what can I do for that person? And even if having so little, because I've been in that position, no place to stay, and you're just like, fuck, what the hell am I gonna do?
What do you do? What did you do?
My mom had a certain set of rules for me to move back in, a certain amount of money I had to have, but I did get that amount of money, and basically her point, she wanted me to show her that I can be productive and make money. Now, how I made that money was how I made that money. But she had a number, and I had to reach it.
And you met the number.
There's a saying. I watch this show. It's on ESPN. It's called Numbers Never Lie. Men lie. Women lie. Numbers don't.
They don't.
And if I want to get real specific, like if we're going to get into sports, like, of course, some numbers in sports, that's not everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't mean by numbers this person's better, because it's an opinion of who's, like, the greatest all time in sports. But, like, in the regular society, like, you'll meet a bunch of cool men, a bunch of cool women, but at the end of the day, as humans, like if someone tells us something as a human, someone's going to tell you a secret. You have a secret, you tell someone. Guess what? They're probably going to tell someone else. Guess why? That's human nature. They have this sultry information. They're just like, it's too much for me to keep on for myself. I got to let someone else know.
Yeah.
And it's not like they're purposely trying to fuck you over. They're just, That's just the human nature. And I've realized that, like, if I have a deep, dark secret, I'm not telling anyone. So I'll put it into perspective. In the simulation, like how I look at it, and today, and like I actually went to Richmond. I was in Richmond yesterday for the truck meet I went to, and you went to school there. There was the billboard. It said Mega Millions, 200 million. You know why they do that? Because people will drive by as the perfect advertising, and they'll think about their life. Oh, I don't have as much money as I want in my life. I might as well just go play that. But the thing about it is, imagine how many times like they'll announce the Mega Millions and nobody wins, and it continues to get more. Guess why that happens? Because so many people bought a ticket and didn't win. More money to the system.
Is there even a winner? Like, is there even a winning ticket out there?
No, there's winning tickets, but I'm saying that people don't always hit it. People don't. So
they bank off of people not hitting it.
And
whoa, that's true. So it's almost like that's like a weird metaphor for kind of the way that the system was set up in general. Mm-hmm. They have this dream, the American dream, quote unquote, and then they want everyone to try to hit it. Everyone's like, yeah, that sounds great.
But then there's your skeptical people. So I'll put it as this: if every, because I don't know how they do the lottery in other countries, but every American played Mega Millions on a Friday or Tuesday, someone's going to hit it. But there's too many skeptical people saying, I don't believe in the lottery, this and that. Nigga, it's $2. Imagine every day how.
Wait, so you're for the lottery or against it?
I'm saying like this. I'm saying like the voting thing. Like say when we go to vote. Imagine if we all got together and said, fuck it, we're not voting. No one's winning. No one is winning. But they have that setup is to put people against each other.
Oh, shit.
That's why they have Republican, Democratic. They want people to clash. They want, and that's how,
That's really interesting.
And then they'll make it seem like, oh, I'm fighting for you. Oh, wait, I'm fighting for your rights.
And then it's like, they'll be on my team.
Yeah, exactly.
But so wait, you're trying to say, hold on. You said something really interesting to me. If no one played the lottery, would it still be there?
The thing is, because of the way they make money, everything in this world, people will always play the lottery. That's and so I mean, just like the simulation cannot run without incarceration and people in jail.
Yeah, dead ass. I mean, that's the old way of things.
That's legal slavery. Legal slavery. Literally.
I mean, the thing is in the Reagan era, it's like, they flooded the streets with these drugs. There's papers saying the government literally flooded their own streets with drugs, started a war on drugs just so they could lock people up. And did you know that prisons are a private sector? They're privately owned. Prisons are privately owned. That's ridiculous. That means that there's obviously some fucking biases going on. And so So I don't know, and man. So let me ask you one question: why the simulation? If this is a video game, right? If this is a simulation, what is it for? What is it power? What is it for? Why would whatever divine being created this? What is a simulation for?
Well, then that goes into the discussion of how did the Earth become, and this is just for me. As what I know, is two things. Either you're going the religion route and you say God did this on this day and made this and that, or you think the Big Bang happened. And those are the big two right now on how the world started.
Science versus right.
Religion's
Religion's cool. I love it. It has great rules. It's actually very accurate in a lot of ways. We are going through the end times. This is the end of a cycle, and this is the way. But that doesn't look. There's no second part because we're writing the second part of the Bible. Yeah, this is the end times. Time to write the new. Time to write the new Bible. Because what the fuck? What do we expect people to have the blueprint from this far back? No. This is the time where we're smart enough to create a new Bible. Doesn't mean the world is ending. It means the world is changing for damn sure. It's ending. Something needs to change. In my opinion, religion was here just to create manpower. We needed this ignorance. We needed this people thinking that being gay is like a sin just so they could keep having babies. That's why religion's against abortion. That's why that shit is the way it is. Because if people felt morally inclined to do certain things, they will do those things. Because only if they're like, well, you're gonna go to hell after this. It's like, oh no, I don't want to go to hell, so I gotta have this kid I don't want. If you're not ready for that kid, that kid's gonna go to not gonna have a good life. The chances of that kid going to prison or doing some worse shit, feeding the system, better off. And so now it's like, okay, we're realizing, okay, I keep saying this because I have this idea in my head. It's like, we're not useful anymore. It's like we were living comparing to a horse in a carriage. We were a horse in a carriage, just like a horse is like pulling by manpower. Now we're trying to get to a motorcycle. We're trying to get to a motorcycle kind of way of life, where it's like we don't need this man-animal power to do this. We can do it ourselves. Now, think of that, but on a grand scale, because technology can step in and be the slaves that we need to do the dirty work. We don't need to lower the consciousness of each other, because, we all work off of one another. Like, it's like these vibes and shit, they don't lie, all that shit. And so it's like right now, whatever being is feeding off of us, because we feed off of everything below us, whatever is feeding off of us needs a higher consciousness. And we're not getting it with this old system. And so in my head, it's like they imploded it. They're like, yo, fuck this. Look at what the government could have been doing. Look at, it's like, look at yourself, really. What do you want? Are you living the life that you want? And if you're not, you're hurting us, because the real currency is consciousness. That is the real currency that they're feeding off of now. It's true energy. It's more powerful energy. That's what they're doing, Who's they? Fuck if I know. I would like to call them aliens. I am that much of a conspiracy theorist. Like, that's the simulation to me is like, okay, so here's a question. Like, the Mandela effect. Have you heard of that? Mm-hmm. Like, how there's like multiple simulations running at one time that sometimes overlap. What is your opinion on that? Do you think that's a fact? Do you think this is the only simulation there is? No,
there has to be more.
Why does there have to be more?
Just like why I feel like there's, like, whether different worlds or different galaxies, like we're like, so like the concept of time. To me, time doesn't exist, because even before the Earth was here, what does that mean? There was nothing. Like before, like humans thinking like, oh, we were the first life forms. No, nobody knows that. There could have been way more life forms before us. So nobody really knows.
Yeah, there's supposed to be Atlantis before us, right?
Yeah. So,
I mean, ultimately, it's kind of like when... Oh, man, this can go so deep in the conspiracy route. I don't want to go there, but I'm going to have to. Like, it's just the truth, how I like feel in this moment. It's like Atlantis is what happens when... And I actually think Atlantis... all those people are in heaven. I think they got added to this consciousness because they did their planet so well and they ran so smoothly that it's like, okay, you can go on to the next level of this simulation. You don't need to be here anymore. And it flooded it with water. We're all made of water. We're all made of water. Yep. Water is literally everything. Like, man, water is crazy. Water, like, think of a snowflake. Every snowflake is fucking different. It's like, that's us. Every person is different.
Yep.
We are water. Like, anyway, like, and it's just, like, crazy. But, fuck, I lost my train of thought. And we back, and we back, and we back. All right. So, I don't know where the fuck we left off, but I just gotta say this. I think that Covid-19 is the universe's way of having a World War III. Because, all right, there was something I heard about the Cold War. It was about to be really, really bad. Some dude in Russia, I'm so bad at history, I'm going to sound so ignorant, I don't give a fuck. The leader of Russia at the time, or, goddamn, I think it was Russia, looks up in the air when he's about to press a button for this nuclear bomb. He's going to cause like a nuclear warfare. Well, all right, here's the theory. They found out that nuclear weapons have a ripple effect in the entire universe. So it's not just messing with Earth. So that gives whatever quote-unquote aliens more of a stake in whether we partake in nuclear weapons. So what happened in Cuba, the Cuban Missile Crisis, when everyone was literally, the war was about to explode, and at the same time people were having... It's kind of like people had these drills where they would hide under their desks in school in case something went down. And it's like this Russian guy, the Russian leader looks up in the air and he's like, because he heard and there's like this fleet of UFOs and he's like, yo, what the fuck? Phones everyone he's at war with. Is this you guys? Because we're about to, Is this you guys? They're all like, no, that's not us. The guy was literally about to press the button for destruction, but he looks at this fleet of UFOs in the air, and he doesn't. And no one can explain what the fuck that was. But anyway, so I think that World War III or World War II was a battle of almost consciousness. Hitler, the Nazis, that's a whole ideology. That's a whole, like, these people need to be erased from our earth. They don't belong here. And it's like, that's dead ass. What the fuck was going on during COVID? During COVID-19, there's all these, like, it's a race war, ultimately, that was going on. And the same mentalities were there, but it's like, okay, you know how they say that dumb people are the ones who swing and fight, and like, or you're more conscious if you can talk about your problems? I think that we are trying to be more conscious as a civilization, as well as we couldn't afford to have another nuke dropped because the world would just crash. But it's like, we have a higher consciousness now. We can't fight in the same primitive ways. We don't fight with axes. We fight with guns. Now, instead of fighting with guns, in my opinion, what we're fighting with is consciousness. So what does that mean? Cameras, pens, something that helps the exchange of ideas. That's what it's all about, is the exchange of ideas, is raising the frequency, raising everyone's consciousness. If you have the information about, oh my God, so this whole idea that white people are just like more superior because of this reason or that reason, if that got debunked, straight up, like just got debunked, and you have the information in front of you, you would have to cling to ignorance. You would have to actively choose to ignore facts, to be negative and to be terrible, and that is a de-evolution. That is a de-evolution. And so it's like, it's a battle for evolution right now. Like, it's like all those people who voted for Trump, like, no, I don't hate you, but I do gotta say that you're on the wrong side of history. And you gotta switch up really quick because... Yeah. And so it's like, yeah, anyway, World War III, I think that's exactly what COVID-19 was. People thought they were going to die. They were sheltering in place. Do we run and like go do whatever we wanted before we die? Yeah, if you want. But in my opinion, 2020, it's like love is law. Yeah. All right, so I'll tell you a personal story. It's like, I'm not going to go too deep, but during COVID, after quarantine and all this, like, there was a point in time where it's like I was just sitting inside, and then there was a moment where I was like, really wanted to do something that I shouldn't have been doing. I really wanted to like do something that I shouldn't have been doing, see someone I shouldn't have been seeing, hanging out with people I shouldn't have been hanging out with. I go and I do that anyway, and like I was healthy all along, and like I go back home and I started getting a sniffle the next day. It was just so rapid. It was just so, I was like, oh my God, this is insane. This is so crazy to me because I know what I did different, and I think it's because I knew it wasn't a good idea. And I think that this COVID-19 is a battle for frequency. I think 5G has everything to do with it. I think that, look, my internet sucks right now. It's like fucking like November, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like my internet sucks. I thought 5G was supposed to make us have flying cars. Like, what the fuck is this bullshit? So obviously there's something going on with frequency and vibrations, which we're all made up with, that they're not telling us. They raise the frequency of the world like a microwave, miking it up, making it, we got to go really fast, everything's like all extreme now. And it's like, because anyway, so that's kind of where I'm at with that. I just think that with this raised frequency, sinning, like, I just hate to use that term, but doing negative things lowers your frequency. Mm-hmm. And if your frequency is lowered in a world that is raised, you literally will get sick. You literally
so then that can definitely contribute to why suicide rates are up 200%. Because people's vibration. So let's say they're a double. Let me not say 200%. So when I say 200%, the suicide rate has doubled. But during Corona. But what is happening, I guess, what you're saying by that, and that could be very true, people's vibrations are lowered. And
the frequency was raised.
But there's still people with terrible addiction issues. So first thing they wake up during Corona, I know there's people, the first thing they go is get the alcohol. That's all they know. Or whatever substance that they're doing. And however that substance...
It could be sex.
Oh, that too. That's terrible. But, and that's the other thing, like, whether you are masturbating or having sex with someone else, there's still consequences. You have sex with someone else, say that person is not the best person, you just exchange energies with someone, and say you're a dope person, you gave them all your dope energy, but say they're just a shitty person, guess what, they gave you nothing.
Well, they kind of took something.
No. So they took something and they probably gave you their trauma or whatever they're dealing with or whatever makes them the way they are. But point of the story is, you just gotta be careful with what you're doing any time of the day. Like, say, everyone knows, your addiction. So if you are a sex addict, you have an issue with masturbation or just caring about sex too much. So you gotta watch out for that. If you're an addict and you just have an addiction issue, I gotta watch my alcohol intake. I gotta watch this because it's gonna affect my life. I'm not gonna be able to run properly, because we're all machines at the end of the day.
I mean, more than that, we're also all water. Like I was trying to bring up before, and alcohol is kind of the opposite of water. And it's also, I think people have to understand that it sounds corny to say that we're all water, but if you think about it hard, what happens during sex? There's an exchange of liquid. Like, dead ass, that's what's going on, is an exchange of liquid. And that's all that we're made up of.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, that's why people who have all these... Anyway, fucking hell. It's crazy out here. I think that COVID-19 was a spiritual war. And the Earth couldn't afford to have a real one, so it had to be internal.
It could have been managed, though, in the beginning. So the government knew that COVID-19... it's funny they call it COVID-19. And it makes... I'm just putting this together in my brain. COVID-19... So they figured out, I don't care whatever COVID-19 stands for. The government knew about COVID-19 in 2019. They knew it in November, at the end of the year. I had a bunch of friends saying they're not feeling too well. And now we look back, they thought they maybe had COVID. It's like this. And I could never forget the year 2019 because that's when I got stabbed in the face, unfortunately. But point of the story here is, If it's called COVID-19 and the government discovered it in 2019,
why didn't you tell us?
Must have been, and you know what they wanted to do? Keep everyone calm, no panic, no sense of panic.
That's what you think? Okay. So there's this guy named Dean Koontz who's like a Stephen King he's like Stephen King. He wrote this book called Eyes of Darkness. The shit literally says in one of the pages. There will be this book was released in the 90s, and it was it's like a fictional thing, but it was talking about there will be a virus coming from Wuhan and it's gonna be very dangerous and all this shit in Wuhan. They literally said it all right there on the page. It's Eyes of Darkness. Look that shit up, it's right there. And so to me, I believe that higher beings tap into artists to warn the public, to just put it into the consciousness that this shit is there. That's why The Matrix makes so much sense. It's in V for Vendetta, they say it's art lies to tell the truth. Politicians do the opposite. Something like that. Some bullshit like that. Anyway, what was I saying right before this?
V for Vendetta.
I don't want to go there. Anyway, so I think that I'm totally lost.
You were talking about V for Vendetta.
Before that?
Art forms.
Damn. Fuck.
Try and tap into that.
I'm trying to tap. V for Vendetta. V for Vendetta, art forms. Well, okay, I think that it's also Machine Gun Kelly. Machine Gun Kelly releases this album this year during 2020 COVID, and it's called Tickets to My Downfall. And he has openly said, I tapped in. It's coming from a different dimension. I don't know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
He literally says this. He's like, look, I'm just a vessel. I receive this information that I understand, that I can put it out there. But it's okay, Stephen King said this cool thing, and he was artists are excavators. Good art is already there. You just have to pick at it. like a pickaxe. It's like rock. Someone looks at stone, already sees the image, so they start picking at it. What gave them that image is the question. Some say God, but what is God? And it's like, in my opinion, God is showing His face so much more nowadays, showing people the synchronicities. Just like more in sync of everything. Right about now.
No, I hear what you're saying. For me, and a lot of people that I know struggle with the concept of God. Is like, how could God be real? But people struggle so hard. People with like disabilities or just being, whether you can be born with like, there's just so many birth defects I see, and just people struggling in the world. And like I hear someone say God makes no mistakes, but a lot of the times I hear people say that who are in the best positions in earth, doing great, making all this money, and that, and money doesn't also always mean success. Everyone has their own definition of success, but always hear people say God makes no mistakes. So you're telling me this person you're looking up to is perfect, when it's just like, even in this world, and I'll debunk this theory of perfection, doesn't exist. The movie I, Robot with Will Smith. Look, they created robots that's supposed to be perfect. Just be your housemaid. Cut the food up, cook for you. But guess what? The robot got corrupt and took over society. Because at the end of the day, how the simulation works, all about power.
Well, it's also like, no, you're totally right. In AI, whatever, when it's obviously going to take over someday, it's going to re-up on its information from the internet. Because that's the encyclopedia of humanity. That is literally like, what are humans? How do we act like humans in this artificial world? Let's just go to the internet. The internet's awful. That's a terrible place. And so anyway, so it's like, I think what the battle is right now, before AI gets created, we have to fight for what information gets replicated by these things. We have to fight for positivity. That is why it is a battle within. That is why it's a battle with cameras. That's why it's a battle for consciousness. Because if you have a higher consciousness, you're going to feed the internet, the machine. You're going to feed the machine better information. Because once it gets better information, then it can act accordingly, because that's literally like what it re-ups on. Because other than that, it's going to look at the human race as not needed. It's going to look at the human race and be like, these people literally are sucking energy from us. And like absent a phone, you're going to cancel out because you don't want to waste your battery. So that's the issue. That's like, the Matrix and this machine and all this shit. It's like...
What people don't even realize is when you do that swiping up on your phone and cancel out apps, you're actually ruining your battery life, because when you have, then guess what you have to do once you just swiped out? You have to reopen the app. That takes more power from your phone. I did.
Whoa.
Yep. I searched it up, how to save your battery life for iPhone, and I read this article, and it's like, I actually do not swipe out of your apps as often. I do it very unfrequently. Do it like
Holy
once a day.
shit.
Because if you keep swiping out, guess what? You just turn that app off. When you press that app again,
cancel all the way out. Because you have to reload it, and that takes more energy.
And I was shocked myself. Trust me, I was like, wow.
Holy
this is
fuck.
So when people, I see them, I'm like, hold on now, don't do that, because I'm so active on social media. I got the iPhone 11 in like March, and my battery health has gone down to 91%. But why? Because I'm so frequently on my phone. So it is what it is. But the point of my story is, people think sometimes like they'll get these hints from someone and they won't even like go on the internet and search it up and see, is this right? They'll just be like, oh, it's my guy, so I'm gonna trust him. You know what I'm saying? Like, but sometimes
that's very human to do that.
No, and that's fine. But I'm saying sometimes you gotta do a little bit of extra research, and it's not like they weren't trying to help you. That's just what they've been told. So that's what they know. But go a little bit deeper, and you might find out something new. Educate yourself a little, and be like, oh, actually, me swiping out of my apps is fucking me up more.
Dude, that's crazy. No, I literally, I had this whole idea in my head about this like world and like simulation and apps, and then you just kind of, like, I was like, so what's wrong with it? Like, because I was wondering, I was like, okay, so if this is more efficient, why is that bad? In like, I'm not trying to be like down on the humans, but I'm like, so if we're not helpful, like, why the fuck are we here? But that is something right there, god damn it. That is something crazy that I never thought of. Wow.
Yep. Definitely.
Holy shit. But, I mean, like, so that's why the Neuralink thing, like, Elon Musk is like, yo, that was a genie in a bottle, because there's going to be a whole lot of mandalas that are canceled out right now. There's going to be a whole lot of them that are not going to work. And I think that it's a very scary thought, because I think that sometimes, when under the right circumstances.
Well, let me get into the extreme thing about Corona that's just crazy for me is how people. So the gyms nowadays, and I don't go to the gym. My mom was literally like, "I'll buy you a gym membership." I'm like, "Nah, I'm gonna keep you alive, keep you safe." And I have weights at home. I have 30-pound dumbbells from Walmart, whatever. And I can do heavy enough. I can do whatever exercise I need to stay in shape. It's like this. When you go to the gym now, these niggas want you to wear a mask while you're running. And let me tell you why the mask thing people gotta understand. People are doing 8-hour long shifts with a mask, and that's and this is why the simulation I'll tie it back to it. That's restricting the oxygen amount you get. Your body needs a certain amount of oxygen.
So what is it, training us for the future pollution?
No. I'm saying the mask is slowly killing people.
No. I don't believe that.
Bro, when you wear a mask, you can't breathe as well. And if you do that
I work at Costco. Like I'm doing like work with the mask and it sucks, yeah, but it's not. I have asthma too. Like trust me, it's really not.
But it's been,
okay. You want to go there? I'll go there with you. I'll tell you why I think the mask is there. But keep going. Go.
No, I'm so for the mask. I know it's saving people, but I'm just saying that it's also hurting people. It's restricting the amount of oxygen they get. And there's different type of masks. Like so you have masks with the freedom that you can breathe a little bit, and there's some that are too tight. But and some places some people say they don't have a mask, and there are companies like you have to wear this type of mask. And then imagine you look back in the years when you get older and you're like, man, I have all these breathing problems because I was never letting anything into
I hear what you're saying. I would disagree. I just don't think that that's what's going on personally. In my head, it's like, because I don't know. I am a firm believer that this COVID-19 is a consciousness battle. And so when it comes to the mask, how much preconceived notions do you have on someone based on what they look like? So many. We were so surface driven. We were so, if you're beautiful, I gotta love you. And it's like, what the fuck is that? It's like so the prettiest faces do the most dirt. Like, thank you, Kid Cudi. Like, no, Kid Cudi's awesome, but like that was a lyric. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Anyway, so it's like the mask to me is purely mental, but that does not mean it's not important. It is conscientious. It is polite. To care about other people. It is polite. Actively not wearing a mask because you're like, no, my rights, I don't. No, that means you're not thinking about other people. That means you're thinking about your damn fucking self. I don't care what you think. Other people feel comfortable when you do this. You don't want to do that, you're a dick. It is a mentality thing. In my head, I just think that, it's like you have all these preconceived notions, all that bullshit. Anyway, that's what I think about it. I think it's more about the image. It's more about the look. It's more about, will you do this extra thing for your fellow people? Will you judge? Are you going to, all you can do is make eyes at someone. They say the eyes are the window of the soul. All we can do is now look at people's souls. Isn't that interesting? All we have are covered up right here. All you can do is just look. It's like, that's all we got. And so it's like, based off of that, people are going to make a lot of different decisions. Like, just, people are going to be friends with people they may not have been friends with just based off of whether they're, because they can't really see them. Yeah. Because we can't judge them off their fucking face. Something that they didn't even choose. Maybe they did choose it. Maybe their soul chose it. But I'll tell you, everyone's soul is right here, right now. And it's just crazy, man. This is crazy.
It is.
It's a crazy time. We should probably end it soon.
Yeah. I feel like we got to a lot of good points. I just know that people need to be more humble. I feel like there's seasons to life, and everyone has up seasons and down seasons, but don't think just because you're on top, you can't just fall to the bottom, and don't think because you're on the bottom, you just can't go to the top.
That's what COVID we learned. It's like people who had all this money don't anymore. People who had these big houses that they were reliant on this weird industry that.
And not just that, I'm not trying to cut you off, but
please.
the point of I had a lot of the people in the government who were higher ups and knew about Corona. They knew Corona was going to happen, so they started selling off their stocks. But guess what? They didn't get in trouble because this is always my question. Who's going to check the government when they do stuff like that? People who are higher up, and they'll just be like, oh, well, I just predicted, that's what I thought in my mind, and how could you check that? It's like, how can the police check the police? Like, when an officer just turns on his lights and he just wants to get home early. Nobody know. You know what I'm saying? Like, who really checks the police when they're speeding? Only another officer could do that. So I'm saying.
So it's bias.
Bias. That's what these people with these good positions in life with power. It's always being abused, and the people that are supposed to check them are also corrupt. So I'm saying they corrupt.
Because they're friends.
Yes,
you want to help out your friends, and if you all up on the same team, you're like, oh.
Then that's the issue I have. The corrupt will never check the corrupt. They're always saying like you need a friend who in life who's gonna check you sometimes. We all do because we
sure.
But point of the story is the corrupt and higher up people in life don't have that. The government doesn't have that. All those people doing all this corrupt stuff. I'm not even getting to specific people, but
right.
No one even checks them. No one's checking the police when they do stuff wrong.
Not even the other officers. They watch as evil is being done. It's like, bro.
Like, what's his name?
What is wrong with you?
Who's that big black guy
George
in New York?
Floyd.
No, the one. It wasn't the other one.
George Floyd got his neck stood on for like
I know George Floyd.
His officers are just looking at him.
But there's this other big black guy in New York, huge. I forgot his name, but he also had a similar situation with like a knee on the neck.
King Von? No, I don't know. I'm kidding. That's not right.
No, but also sad thing is a lot of people have seen King Von died and they're like rest in peace King Von. It's like
the guy's a killer. The guy's a fucking murderer.
King Von killed someone?
He's a murderer.
Who did he kill?
Alright, no, I feel like that more about YNW Melly. I fucking hate that guy.
Yeah, King Von. I don't think King Von killed anyone.
He was a shooter, man, for the longest time of like. I know why that guy Melly killed someone, and people who defend him, it's like it doesn't make sense because like he actually killed someone. Like, what is there to defend? I mean, it's also like selling your soul to the devil is kind of bullshit. It's like no, heaven and hell are both versions of a perfect reality. It's like if you want hell. You're gonna find your way, your perfect hell. If you want heaven, you're gonna find your perfect heaven. It's all here on earth. It's all here on earth. Because it is a simulation, it is a spiritual performance. What's going on right now? Your spirit will be here, and if you want to stay in the low hell, your spirit will stay. If you want to ascend, you can ascend. Mm-hmm. So it's just crazy. The great thing about ascension is that it builds on itself. That's the great thing about it. That's why like good people don't die. Is because if it's good, you're gonna use it again. If it's like you're gonna go back to it, and be like, oh yeah. It's like so you're always going. It's always going to be alive. You're always going, and it's not gonna be erased by the machine because it's useless. Is what I'm trying to say. That's like the point of it. Jesus, man. Good one.
Damn.
Good one, yo. Look, can you just say social climate change over here?
Social Climate Change is the page. Please follow, subscribe, and this guy is up and coming, has a lot of great ideas, and is a great human being. So please follow, subscribe to his page, show him some love, and we hope you have a great rest of your year and existence. And remember, time does not exist. God bless you all, and one love.
Love is money. Spend it wisely.
Yep.